The first time I saw my son, like any mom, he was beautiful and literally the best thing I'd ever seen, but it was also immediately apparent that he was African American. So you had this white woman unexpectedly popping out a black baby, and she had no idea why.
That's crazy. That is wild. Imagine, you go into the clinic, you get the news, oh yeah, congratulations, you're pregnant. You go through 9 months of nurturing that baby, forming a bond, speaking to it. And then you come out and it's, for in my instance, it's a white baby. You'd be looking at everyone involved, like, what the hell's going on? You put the wrong egg or you use the wrong sperm. Like, what's going on? I need to find answers. And no wonder she's suing, because this is wild.
You are now listening to Pree Da Production with your host, Majaro.
What is up, my tribal people? Welcome back to another video on the Pree Da Production YouTube channel. I'm your tribal chief, Majaro, and you already know what I'm going to say. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to grow the community. And by sharing this with your friends and family, that goes a long way in helping us do that. Now, let's get into the video. What is up, my tribal people? We are back again with another video on the Pree Da Production YouTube channel and another segment of Pree Da Video. And on today's episode, we're going to be looking at some medical mishaps, some medical malfeasance and malfunctions that happens in the IVF sector of the medical practice. And for those who don't know what IVF is, it is a procedure to enable people who struggle with fertility. Essentially, they freeze a participant's egg, mainly female, and keep it in storage until the time they're ready, and then proceed to trying to consummate a human being by artificially inseminating and fertilizing the stored egg. It can be done through multiple ways, whether using a surrogate, using a person's, uterus as the host and the eggs. They might not even freeze. You just might, use a donor, but you have some physical complications that make it impossible to conceive naturally. So there's a lot of reasons people use IVF treatment, and one of the main ones is freezing their eggs. So, over the past couple of years, there's been a massive scandal in that sector, really. Deregulations. There's not really any requirements to be a technician, if you will. There's a lot of mishaps that happens, and there's a lot of stories, a lot of lawsuits, as I've noticed, that goes on in that sector. So I thought we'd take a peek at one of the latest ones, and trust me, this one's a doozy.
This is a nightmare situation, a true IVF horror story. Because while there's actually some great IVF news, Trump's looking to expand it with the president signing an executive order this morning stating Americans need reliable access to IVF and more affordable treatment options, as the cost per cycle can range from $12,000 to $25,000. And so with that, you have Trump instructing the assistant to the president for domestic policy to bring him a list of policy recommendations on protecting IVF access and, quote, aggressively reducing out-of-pocket and health plan costs within 90 days. You then also have the news around Christina Murray, who's a 38-year-old woman in Savannah, Georgia, who says that she wanted to be a mother ever since she was a little girl. And so she went through hell for it, with her reportedly undergoing 18 months of intrauterine insemination to no avail, with her then trying IVF for several months, saying that she did follow-up exams, medical tests, blood tests, daily injections. Nothing worked until it did, with her finally getting pregnant using sperm from a donor that she selected who reportedly looked like her, having dirty blonde hair and blue eyes.
One thing I just want to make clear is IVF, it's not an easy route. People spend, like you say, thousands of dollars trying to conceive, and a lot of pain, a lot of prodding, a lot of disappointment. So it's not just a physical thing you have to go through, it's also a mental thing. If this is one thing that you want for your life, for your family, to have, with a partner or just by yourself, if you really want to go through this process, it is grueling, because I think the success rate is not high. It's in the mid 70s to 80s that it fails. It's not easy and it's not cheap. So for anyone who's trying to, push through and try to have a baby by all means necessary, I hear you, but just make sure you don't go bankrupt in the process. So when the baby is here, you're looking at where the money's going to come from, because you spent all the money trying to get the baby in the first place. So yeah, is not an easy road to travel.
With her then, in December of 2023, reportedly giving birth and saying, "The first time I saw my son, like any mom, he was beautiful and literally the best thing I'd ever seen, but it was also immediately apparent that he was African American." So you have this white woman unexpectedly popping out a black baby, and she had no idea why.
That's crazy. That is wild. Imagine, you go into the clinic, you get the news, oh yeah, congratulations, you're pregnant. You go through 9 months of nurturing that baby, forming a bond, speaking to it. And then you come out and it's, for in my instance, it's a white baby. You'd be looking at everyone involved, like, what the hell's going on? You put the wrong egg or you use the wrong sperm, like, what's going on? I need to find answers. And no wonder she's suing, because this is wild. How would you explain that to your family? Like, it's just logically doesn't make sense. So stuff like this must happen a lot. I'm not gonna lie. It must be easy. If there's loads of lawsuits, it must be easier to just be putting wrong labels in the wrong places.
And so she says that she takes an at-home DNA test, and here's the thing. It appears that this is not a case of whoops, wrong donor. The baby is not hers, which means that someone at the fertility clinic implanted the wrong embryo inside of her body, making her carry someone else's baby to term. And so she notifies the clinic, which then notified the biological parents, who then sued for custody of the child. Thing is, though, by this point, Murray says she loves the baby and had bonded with him. She's breastfeeding him and taking him to doctor's appointments.
My baby is not genetically mine. He doesn't have my blood. He doesn't have my eyes. But he is and will always be my son.
And so she hired a lawyer and fought back, but says that after a tremendous amount of money and time, they told her that she would likely lose her case. So last May, she went to a family court hearing and turned this child, whom she considers her son, over to another couple.
I walked out of the building with an empty stroller, and they left with my son.
The actions of the fertility clinic have come very close to destroying me, have left irreparable damage to my soul, and ultimately left me questioning whether I should be a mom.
Now with all this, despite everything, you have Murray saying she is trying again with a different IVF clinic. Plus, she also notes she has no clue what happened to her own embryo, so who knows, like maybe it was implanted in another woman who actually gave birth to her baby. But really, we may never fully know there, but what we do know is that she is suing the clinic, Coastal Fertility Specialists, and some of its staff for a long list of offenses. With those including negligence, gross negligence, bailment, breach of fiduciary duty, fraudulent concealment, battery, lack of informed consent, violations of the Georgia Fair Business Practices Act, and violations of the South Carolina Unfair Trade Practices Act. Notably here, you also have our lawyer stressing this fuck-up is not unique to any particular clinic, rather saying it is a systemic thing, which is something that he says is because the industry is largely unregulated.
There are no reporting requirements when errors are made. There are no random and unannounced inspections. There are no statewide or federally required certifications for the staff who work at fertility clinics.
That is crazy. My heart goes out to the former mother now, I have to say. That's wild. That's tough. Imagine spending all that time, effort, heart, sweat, tears, money, trying to conceive, trying to have a baby of your own, and then you get the great and amazing news. And then all of a sudden, your world comes crashing when the baby's delivered. You care for it for at least, because the baby, when that picture got taken, it was like at least a couple of whole months, like I'll say 5, maximum 6. Then, you fight for your baby that's not yours. And now you're wondering, is my baby actually even out there? Like, maybe someone else has my baby. There's been, like, loads of movies about, twins, misplaced at birth. Or, we took the wrong baby home. Now we are raising it as our own. But this is just even worse. This is even worse than that. And, like they said, this isn't a out of the blue, one-off, anomaly. This isn't one of them. This happens. This is the industry that it happens, like, period. So let's look at another one. Like, there's a whole list of them. Like, let's just have a look at another one.
More lawsuits have been filed against a Newport Beach fertility clinic, accusing it of implanting embryos that were already dead.
Orange County reporter David Gonzalez talked to a couple about their horrifying ordeal.
And knowing that there was no possibility and that they put me through that, it's kind of horrifying.
Brooke Berger and Bennett Harding turned to in vitro fertilization in May 2022 with the hopes of expanding their family. In January, Brooke was implanted with 2 embryos at Ovation Fertility in Newport Beach.
This is a lot of time and effort, and then to find out that that was all for nothing was just devastating.
Brooke and Bennett are one of 9 more couples suing the fertility clinic today.
We don't want this to happen again. To have this happen is unacceptable.
The lawsuit states Ovation Fertility committed a catastrophic error in late January in their lab, exposing embryos to hydrogen peroxide and killing them. The clinic launched an investigation after seeing a drop in the % success rate.
That was used instead of distilled water, and that was deadly for every single embryo that was implanted between January 18th and January 30th. They had a 0% success rate for dozens and dozens of couples.
Ovation then implanted dead embryos inside these hopeful mothers for pregnancies that would never happen. Now, Ovation knew of the errors that had been made, but never told the couples about it.
Attorneys say the clinic then tried to cover up their negligence by reaching out to those affected and offering refunds.
These emails contained release agreements that had gag orders, basically saying, take $5,000 or $6,000 for the death of your embryos, and don't tell anyone about it.
Ovation Fertility says they have protocols in place to protect the health and integrity of every embryo under their care. In a statement, they said, this was an isolated incident related to an unintended laboratory technician error that impacted a very small number of patients. They add, we did not knowingly transfer non-viable embryos for implantation. The lawsuit does not ask for specific damages, but attorneys say the clinic needs to be held accountable. While Brooke and Bennett's current dreams of having a baby have been derailed, the couple says they will consider using IVF through another provider. Reporting in Orange County, David Gonzalez, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
So that one's written off. I mean, once you get something like that happen, your reputation is basically ruined to a lot of people in that area specifically, for sure. This goes out. That's why they didn't want anyone to know about it. So you get that provider, quote unquote. The other one provider, you cross them off the list. How many more providers? Oh wait, there's another one. Another video, another lawsuit. So it might get worse. First it was the wrong embryos. Then it was unalive embryos. What next? No embryos at all? We'll have to wait and see.
What was supposed to be one of the happiest moments of Alexander Cardinale's life, meeting his new baby, happened 4 months late thanks to an apparent mix-up.
I was in some kind of hell. It was just getting worse.
In 2019, his wife Daphne gave birth to a baby that looked nothing like them. They'd used in vitro fertilization and immediately feared something had gone wrong.
I think we were hoping if at least one of us was genetically related to her, then we could keep her. But I think the biggest fear in all of this is like, am I gonna lose my baby?
According to their lawsuit, 3 months later, genetic testing showed their embryo had been switched with another couple's. The solution, legally exchange the children.
Our biological child was given.
That's crazy. What? We all heard of wife swap. This is baby swap. Like, oh man. I can only go, my heart goes out.
And to someone else. And the baby that I fought to bring into this world was not mine to keep.
The couple is suing their LA fertility doctor, clinic, and lab. The other family wants to remain anonymous, but reportedly plans to sue as well. While cases like this have happened in the U.S. before, they are exceedingly rare.
But accidents happen, mistakes happen.
Fertility lawyer Sherry Leviton says the miraculous thing here is both women successfully gave birth and agreed to switch the babies.
I understand that there are 100 different horrible outcomes, and this was the least horrible of all those outcomes.
The Cardinales say their pain is eclipsed by that of their older daughter.
As this ordeal has taken away everything that feels safe and has shaken her trust in us as parents.
Who can't possibly understand why she lost the little sister she'd grown to love. Chris Glover, CBC News.
Yo, this ain't even like a... Nah, this is so sad. I mean, this isn't as bad as some of the other ones we've watched today, but still, you know, the older sister forming a bond. Oh, that's my little sister, that's my little brother. Then being swapped out for another child that you don't know. And then when the child grows up, you have to tell them this story. The moments you remember giving, you know, birth to this child, or, you know, going through the pregnancy, like, that's a whole experience. Before the baby's here, you already feel like you're connected to the baby, because you are. And then for it to be upended, 3 months in? Yeah, must be devastating. And obviously they can recover, but man, I wish them nothing but for the best, and I definitely hope they get the money that's owed to them, because this is crazy. Anyway, let me know what you think about this whole sector of medicine. Do you feel like there needs to be more regulations? There needs to be actual medical degrees to be technicians in these labs? Do you feel like there needs to be better systems of actually tracking? Because I don't know how they don't check their genetic makeup beforehand. Maybe it's hard for them to do. Maybe, you know, I don't know. I'm pretty sure they take a batch at a time of eggs and, you know, sperm or whatever. You can test one egg in that batch and be like, okay, cool, this is the correct one. Let's proceed. But crazy. It happens a lot more than you would like. Anyways, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
I be kidding on my foes, even though I got it all on my own. Success sweet, yeah.